The Minotaur is one of the most iconic and terrifying creatures in Greek mythology. Half man and half bull, this monstrous being is best known for its residence in the labyrinth of Crete, a maze so complex that escape was nearly impossible. Born from a union that defied the natural order, the Minotaur became a symbol of both human transgression and divine retribution. In this video, we will delve into the origins, significance, and eventual downfall of the Minotaur, exploring the myth that has fascinated and haunted imaginations for centuries. The tale of the Minotaur begins with the powerful and proud king Minos of Crete. Minos, one of the sons of Zeus and Europa, sought to prove his right to the throne over his brothers. To solidify his claim, he prayed to Poseidon, the god of the sea, asking for a sign of divine favor. Poseidon, in response, sent forth from the ocean depths a magnificent white bull, a creature of such beauty and strength that it seemed otherworldly. Minos had promised to sacrifice this bull to Poseidon as a gesture of gratitude and to honor the god's generosity. However, upon seeing the bull, Minos was captivated by its splendor and decided to deceive Poseidon. Instead of sacrificing the bull, Minos kept it for himself, believing that such a magnificent creature should not be killed. In its place, he sacrificed a far less impressive bull, hoping to placate the god without losing his prize. This act of hubris, challenging the will of a god, did not go unnoticed. Poseidon, enraged by Minos' betrayal, decided to punish the king in a way that would leave a lasting mark on his legacy. Poseidon's revenge came through Minos' wife, Queen Pasiphae. The god made Pasiphae fall madly in love with the white bull, an unnatural and overwhelming desire that she could neither resist nor understand. In her desperation, Pasiphae sought the help of Daedalus, a renowned craftsman and inventor who served in Minos' court. With Daedalus' aid, she devised a way to consummate her unnatural passion. Daedalus constructed a hollow wooden cow covered in real cowhide into which Pasiphae could climb. Deceived by the ruse, the bull mated with the wooden cow, and from this union, the Minotaur was born. The Minotaur was a grotesque and fearsome creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. It was a being of immense strength, driven by a savage and insatiable hunger. Horrified by the monstrous offspring, Minos sought to conceal the shame brought upon his family. He turned once again to Daedalus, commissioning him to create a structure that could confine the beast, a prison from which there would be no escape. Thus, the labyrinth was conceived. The labyrinth constructed by Daedalus was an architectural marvel and a symbol of both genius and madness. It was an intricate maze, so complex that even Daedalus himself could barely navigate it. The labyrinth was designed not just to imprison the Minotaur, but to ensure that anyone who entered would become hopelessly lost, unable to find their way out. The winding corridors and endless turns created an environment of perpetual confusion, where the boundaries between direction and disorientation blurred. At the center of this vast maze, the Minotaur resided, a solitary figure condemned to roam the dark and silent corridors, awaiting its next meal. For Minos, the labyrinth served a dual purpose. It hid the evidence of his wife's unnatural union and protected his people from the monster's wrath. However, the labyrinth also became a symbol of Minos' tyranny and the lengths he would go to preserve his power and pride. The labyrinth's construction is often seen as a reflection of the human mind's complexities, its capacity for both creativity and cruelty. The Minotaur, imprisoned within, represented the darker aspects of human nature that, once unleashed, could not be easily controlled. The the labyrinth was more than just a physical structure. It was a metaphor for the entrapment of the soul, a place where both the Minotaur and those who entered became prisoners of their own making. The story of the Minotaur and the labyrinth would not be complete without the inclusion of Athens, a city that found itself entangled in Minos's web of power. Athens had been at war with Crete, and after a particularly devastating conflict, the Athenians were forced to agree to a humiliating tribute as part of the peace terms. Every 9 years, they were required to send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete, where they would be offered as sacrifices to the Minotaur. This tribute was not just a payment for peace, but a stark reminder of Crete's dominance and the horrors that awaited those who opposed Minos. For the people of Athens, the tribute was a source of deep sorrow and fear. The chosen youths were seen as doomed from the moment their names were drawn, their fate sealed by the labyrinth's impenetrable walls. The journey to Crete was a march towards certain death, and the Minotaur, lurking in the shadows of the labyrinth, became a symbol of their despair. Each cycle of the tribute renewed the pain and horror of the previous one, as the Athenians lived under the constant threat of losing their sons and daughters to the beast. The tribute also served as a reminder of the fragility of human life and the whims of the gods, who could dictate the fate of entire cities based on the actions of a few. Minos used the tribute to reinforce his power not only over Athens but also within Crete, where the people saw their king as a figure of divine authority, capable of wielding both political and supernatural power. The story of the Minotaur, the labyrinth, and the tribute of Athens is one of the most enduring and complex myths in Greek mythology. It is a tale of power and punishment, of human frailty and divine wrath. The Minotaur, born of a union that defied natural law, was both a victim and a monster, trapped in a labyrinth that was as much a prison for the mind as it was for the body. The labyrinth itself, with its twisting paths and dead ends, became a symbol of the human condition, a place where reason and madness intersect, and where the boundaries between right and wrong, freedom and captivity, are blurred. The tribute of Athens, meanwhile, served as a constant reminder of the consequences of hubris and the inescapable nature of fate, a fate that would ultimately be challenged by a hero willing to face the darkness within. The tale of the Minotaur reaches its dramatic climax with the story of Theseus, the hero of Athens who would ultimately challenge and defeat the monster. Theseus, the son of Aegeus, the king of Athens, was renowned for his bravery and strength, qualities that would soon be put to the ultimate test. The ongoing tribute to Crete had cast a long shadow over Athens, and each cycle of sacrifices deepened the city's sorrow and desperation. The Athenians lived in fear, knowing that their children could be the next to face the Minotaur's wrath. It was under these grim circumstances that Theseus decided to take action. Theseus was not content to stand by while his city suffered. He volunteered to be part of the tribute, not out of resignation but with a secret and audacious plan to confront the Minotaur and put an end to the monstrous tribute once and for all. His decision was not just an act of bravery, but also one of profound selflessness. He was willing to risk his life to save others and to free his city from the tyranny of Crete. Theseus's resolve was fueled by a deep sense of justice and a belief that no one, not even a king, should have the power to demand such a horrific price. Before setting sail for Crete, Theseus received a crucial piece of advice from his father, King Aegeus. Aegeus asked Theseus to change the ship's sails from black to white upon his return if he succeeded in his mission. The black sails were a sign of mourning, reflecting the grim fate that awaited the Athenian youths in Crete, while the white sails would signal Theseus's triumph and safe return. This small but significant request underscored the emotional stakes of Theseus's journey. It was not just a battle against the Minotaur, but also a fight for the heart and hope of Athens. As Theseus and the other Athenian youths arrived in Crete, they were paraded before the people, a grim display of Crete's dominance. However, among the spectators was Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos and Queen Pasiphae. Ariadne, upon seeing Theseus, was struck by his courage and noble bearing. She fell deeply in love with him, and her love became the catalyst for Theseus's success. Ariadne knew the dangers of the labyrinth and the nearly impossible task that lay ahead of Theseus. Driven by her feelings for him, she decided to aid Theseus in his quest to slay the Minotaur. Ariadne's assistance was crucial. She provided Theseus with a ball of thread, a seemingly simple tool but one of profound importance. The thread, which Theseus would unravel as he ventured deeper into the labyrinth, would allow him to retrace his steps and find his way out after confronting the Minotaur. Without this lifeline, Theseus would likely have become hopelessly lost, doomed to wander the maze until he met the same fate as the countless others who had come before him. Ariadne's gift was an act of both love and rebellion, a way to defy her father's cruel legacy and to choose her own destiny. As Theseus entered the labyrinth, he was met with an eerie silence. The walls seemed to close in around him, and the twisting, turning corridors made it easy to lose all sense of direction. The labyrinth was a place of disorientation designed to break the spirit of those who entered. But Theseus, guided by the thread and fueled by his determination, pressed on, each step bringing him closer to his fateful encounter with the Minotaur. The tension mounted as Theseus ventured deeper into the maze. The darkness and the stillness were suffocating, each moment pregnant with the possibility of danger. And then, in the depths of the labyrinth, Theseus came face to face with the Minotaur. The creature was as terrifying as the legends had described, massive, with the body of a man and the head of a bull, its eyes burning with a primal rage. This was no ordinary adversary. It was a being born of divine retribution, a creature that embodied the wrath of the gods and the sins of mankind. The battle between Theseus and the Minotaur was fierce and brutal. Theseus knew that he could not match the Minotaur in sheer strength alone, so he relied on his agility, intelligence, and the weapons he had brought with him. The Minotaur, driven by its savage instincts, fought with relentless fury, but Theseus was able to outmaneuver the beast, using the narrow confines of the labyrinth to his advantage. In the end, it was Theseus's cunning that triumphed. He managed to strike a fatal blow, slaying the Minotaur and ending its reign of terror. With the beast dead, Theseus faced the challenge of finding his way out of the labyrinth. The thread that Ariadne had given him proved its worth, guiding him back through the maze's twists and turns. As Theseus emerged from the labyrinth, the weight of what he had accomplished began to sink in. He had not only defeated a monster, but also liberated his people from the oppressive tribute that had haunted Athens for years. Theseus's victory was a triumph of human courage and ingenuity over the monstrous forces that sought to dominate them. However, the story of Theseus and the Minotaur does not end with the death of the creature. Theseus's return to Athens was bittersweet, marked by both joy and tragedy. As he and the other Athenian youths sailed back home, Theseus forgot to change the ship's sails from black to white, as he had promised his father. When King Aegeus saw the black sails approaching, he was overcome with grief. believing that his son had perished in the labyrinth. In his despair, Aegeus threw himself into the sea, which would forever bear his name, the Aegean Sea. Theseus's victory over the Minotaur was thus tinged with sorrow, a reminder that even the greatest triumphs can come at a cost. The death of Aegeus marked the end of an era in Athens, but it also signified the beginning of Theseus's reign as king. He returned to Athens as a hero, but his journey was far from over. The legacy of his battle with the Minotaur would live on, not just in the annals of mythology, but in the very identity of Athens itself. Theseus's defeat of the Minotaur symbolizes the triumph of order over chaos, of civilization over barbarism. The labyrinth, with its endless corridors and deadly traps, represented the complexities and dangers of the world, a place where reason and courage were needed to navigate through the darkness. The Minotaur, as the embodiment of brute strength and uncontrolled passion, was a force that had to be confronted and overcome for society to thrive. In slaying the Minotaur, Theseus not only saved his people, but also established himself as a figure of great importance in Greek mythology. His victory was not just a personal achievement, but a collective one, reflecting the ideals of heroism and the belief that even the most daunting challenges could be overcome through bravery, intelligence, and the support of allies like Ariadne. The story of Theseus and the Minotaur is a timeless tale, one that has resonated through the ages as a symbol of the eternal struggle between good and evil, between light and darkness. It is a reminder that heroes are not defined by their strength alone, but by their ability to confront their fears, to navigate the labyrinths of life, and to emerge victorious, no matter the cost. The story of the Minotaur, Theseus, and the labyrinth has endured for millennia, capturing the imagination of countless generations. Its legacy extends far beyond the ancient world, influencing art, literature, philosophy, and popular culture in profound ways. The Minotaur, as a symbol of the monstrous and the unknown, continues to resonate with modern audiences, reflecting our deepest fears and the complexities of the human condition. In ancient Greece, the myth of the Minotaur was more than just a tale of heroism and monstrosity. It was a story deeply embedded in the cultural and religious fabric of the time. The Minotaur's birth, life, and death were seen as manifestations of divine will, illustrating the consequences of hubris and the inescapable nature of fate. The labyrinth, with its intricate design, symbolized the challenges and mysteries of life, a place where one could easily lose their way. Theseus, as the hero who conquered the beast, represented the ideal of the Greek hero, brave, clever, and willing to face great dangers for the greater good. As Greek civilization evolved, the story of the Minotaur began to be interpreted in various ways. Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle saw in the labyrinth a metaphor for the human mind and its capacity for both rational thought and irrational fear. The Minotaur itself came to symbolize the darker aspects of human nature, those impulses and desires that, if left unchecked, could lead to destruction. Theseus's victory was thus seen not just as a physical triumph, but as a moral and intellectual one, where reason and virtue prevailed over chaos and savagery. The myth also had a significant impact on Greek art and literature. Depictions of the Minotaur and the labyrinth were common in pottery, sculpture, and frescoes, often used to convey themes of power, control, and the thin line between civilization and barbarism. Writers like Ovid and Virgil later adapted the story, weaving it into their own narratives and expanding its influence across the Roman world. The Minotaur became a symbol of the struggles inherent in the human experience, and its story was told and retold, each time reflecting the values and concerns of the society that embraced it. During the Renaissance, the myth of the Minotaur experienced a revival as scholars and artists rediscovered the texts and traditions of ancient Greece and Rome. The labyrinth became a powerful symbol in literature and art, representing the complexities of the human soul and the challenges of life's journey. Renaissance thinkers were fascinated by the idea of the labyrinth as a metaphor for the pursuit of knowledge and the quest for truth. The Minotaur, in this context, was often seen as the embodiment of ignorance or sin, a beast that had to be overcome for enlightenment to be achieved. In the visual arts, the Minotaur continued to inspire. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo explored themes of the monstrous and the divine, often drawing on the myth of the Minotaur to express ideas about human nature and the struggle between good and evil. The labyrinth, with its winding paths and hidden dangers, was used as a symbol of the complexities of human existence, a place where one could easily become lost without the guiding light of reason and virtue. The modern era has seen the myth of the Minotaur take on new forms and meanings. In literature, authors like Jorge Luis Borges and James Joyce have used the labyrinth as a metaphor for the complexities of modern life and the challenges of finding meaning in a chaotic world. Borges, in particular, was fascinated by the idea of the labyrinth as an infinite and unknowable space, a place where time and reality could become distorted. In his stories, the Minotaur often appears as a tragic figure, a being trapped by fate and doomed to an existence of endless wandering and despair. In popular culture, the Minotaur has become a fixture in fantasy and horror genres, often portrayed as a terrifying beast that must be defeated by a hero. Films, television shows, and video games have all drawn on the myth, reimagining the labyrinth as a dungeon or maze filled with dangers, and the Minotaur as a formidable adversary. These adaptations often emphasize the themes of bravery and survival, with the hero's journey through the labyrinth serving as a test of their strength, intelligence, and moral character. The Minotaur also appears in psychoanalysis, particularly in the work of Carl Jung. Jung saw the labyrinth as a symbol of the unconscious mind, a place where repressed fears and desires lurk, waiting to be confronted. The Minotaur, in this interpretation, represents the shadow self, the darker, unacknowledged parts of the psyche that must be faced and integrated for personal growth to occur. Jung's ideas have influenced countless therapists and thinkers who see the myth of the Minotaur as a powerful tool for understanding the human experience and the journey toward self-awareness. In contemporary art, the Minotaur continues to inspire. Artists like Pablo Picasso have explored the myth in their work, using the figure of the Minotaur to express themes of violence, sexuality, and the duality of human nature. Picasso, in particular, was drawn to the image of the Minotaur as a representation of the primal forces within us, those instincts that drive us toward both creation and destruction. His series of works featuring the Minotaur reflect a deep engagement with the myth and its ongoing relevance to the human condition. The Minotaur's legacy also extends into the realms of philosophy and existentialism. The labyrinth is often used as a metaphor for the search for meaning in a world that can seem chaotic and irrational. Philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus have drawn on the myth to explore the absurdity of existence and the challenge of finding purpose in a universe that offers no clear answers. The Minotaur, in this context, becomes a symbol of the existential struggle, a force that must be faced if one is to live authentically and with courage. In addition to its influence on art and philosophy, the myth of the Minotaur has also found a place in modern psychology and self-help. The idea of navigating a labyrinth to confront a beast has been used as a metaphor for personal growth and overcoming obstacles. Therapists and counselors often use the story of Theseus and the Minotaur to help clients understand the challenges they face in their own lives, encouraging them to see their struggles as a journey through a labyrinth that, with perseverance and courage, can lead to self-discovery and empowerment. The Minotaur's story has also been adapted into various forms of modern entertainment, from novels and films to graphic novels and video games. Each adaptation brings new layers of meaning to the myth, exploring different aspects of the story and its characters. In some versions, the Minotaur is portrayed as a misunderstood creature, more tragic than terrifying, while in others, Theseus is depicted as a flawed hero, struggling with his own inner demons. These reinterpretations keep the myth alive, ensuring that it continues to resonate with new audiences. In education, the myth of the Minotaur is often used to teach students about Greek mythology, literature, and history. The story is seen as a classic example of the hero's journey, a narrative structure that has influenced countless stories throughout history. By studying the myth, students can gain insights into the values and beliefs of ancient Greece, as well as the ways in which myths reflect the human experience across different cultures and time periods. The enduring appeal of the Minotaur lies in its ability to symbolize the universal themes of fear, power, and the struggle for control. The labyrinth represents the complexities and challenges of life, a place where one must confront their deepest fears to emerge stronger and wiser. The Minotaur, as both a monster and a victim, embodies the darker aspects of human nature, those impulses and desires that, if not confronted, can lead to destruction. Theseus's victory over the Minotaur is a testament to the power of courage, intelligence, and perseverance, qualities that continue to inspire us in our own lives. The myth of the Minotaur, with its rich symbolism and complex characters, remains one of the most powerful and enduring stories in human history. Its legacy can be seen in the countless works of art, literature, and philosophy that have drawn on its themes, as well as in the ways it continues to inspire and challenge us today. The Minotaur, the labyrinth, and the hero Theseus are more than just figures from ancient mythology. They are symbols of the human condition, reflections of our struggles, fears, and aspirations. As long as we continue to search for meaning and confront the challenges of life, the story of the Minotaur will remain a vital and relevant part of our cultural heritage.